Hello, once again, friends, and welcome back to this series of Let's Play the Old Stream Farm on Farming Simulator 2019 PS4 edition, or what I would just simply like to call Bumpkin Farming, for right now, anyway. So we're literally picking up exactly where we left off. I have not touched the game since last week when I uploaded that video. And, well, I've been looking at the crop here. It seems to be growing pretty slowly. And come to find out, I'm pretty sure that I have the growth on slow. Now, one thing I'm going to do is change that to normal, but I'm not going to do it just yet. I'm actually going to wait just a minute to do that and come over here and grab the fertilizer, because I noticed that this field is 0% fertilized. So I'm going to go ahead and throw a layer of fertilizer on it. And it doesn't look like my vehicles are staying up on this hillside very well, or to the utmost. Uh, it's like they may have slid just a little bit. That's alright. As long as they don't end up out there in the road, I think we're good. Just trying to kind of move the harvester out of the way somewhat. So I'm going to pick up my fertilizer here. Hope that header's not in the way. And yeah, we'll begin our fertilizing. Because even though we didn't sow this here crop, we can still take care of it and therefore get a greater yield in the long run. And I've got some serious overhang going on right here. I'm used to using the sprayer, the big sprayer. And this thing, it actually has a pretty nice working width on it. It's not too bad, especially for the size of this field. By the way, I wanted to mention that after going over the previous video that I made, I've noticed that there's some kind of resolution issue with these internally recorded PS4 videos that I've been doing, and I'm not sure exactly what it is. I'm using the best method that I can think of to get the videos transferred to my PC so that I can then edit them and then upload them to YouTube. I'm using the best method that I think will suffice. And I just went over that section twice, but oh well. Um, and I just want to say that, like I said, I don't know exactly what's causing that. I don't know if it's just on my end because of my internet, or if it's an actual issue, if it has something to do with the PS4 itself. I'm not really sure, but I'm trying to work on it to make it better. If I cannot make it better, then I might postpone these farming simulator videos until I can come up with a better method, because I want my videos to have good quality. And if there is an issue with the resolution, chances are, what I think it is I think it's the PlayStation 4's limited capability of recording the screen, and I think it's recording the screen at a low bit rate for the video. And if you may have noticed that the videos themselves are in 720, which isn't great. I mean, it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's acceptable, but it's not great. But then when you want to, if you want to add on the fact that there's some kind of resolution issue going on with that 720, it makes it look even worse. And so therefore I'm not really that enthused about making videos with such a low resolution, and it seems to happen, I've noticed that it seems to happen when the screen starts moving fast and the frame itself has to upload quite a bit. So I'm thinking that it's just an issue with the way that the PS4 records videos, and it has to do with the bits per second, or the megabits per second that it's recording in. I think it's low, and I also think that it adjusts itself, or it varies as the frame refreshes itself. It doesn't seem to make up for the resolution. Like, say if I'm moving really fast and I don't get hung up on trees, and I'm moving really fast like this, and the frame is refreshing a lot, I've noticed that it gets blurry and pixelated. And I know that that has to do with the amount of data that's being processed in the frame per second. I know enough about video to know that that's probably the issue that's going on with the PS4 recording internally. If it's not the PS4, it might be YouTube. It might be some kind of issue with YouTube. I've noticed quite a bit of issues with YouTube here recently, and so it's really hard to say what it is. I'm going to try to figure out what's going on, though, and try to fix it as good as I can. Alright, now that well, I'm going to look at it on the map here. And it's not going to show, it's actually not going to show me how much of the field I just covered with that fertilizer, because the field itself needs plowing and it also needs lime, which means that we're going to have to invest in some lease items in our near future, which means that we're going to be putting out even more money, because I don't have a lime spreader. That's the one thing that I didn't get whenever I bought all my stuff. So what I also might do, as far as, you know, taking advantage of things, is I might actually speed up the time. I might adjust the time until I come up with enough methods of filling the time itself up. I might speed the time up. Like right now, basically what I'm waiting for is this crop to reach its next growing phase, which means that I could put another layer of fertilizer down on it, or I can just go ahead and wait until it's ready to be harvested. Now, if I do that, then I'll jump right on it as soon as I get done harvesting it, and I will plow the field, I'll lay down lime, I will sow it, and it'll be ready for the next crop. The next crop will just have to grow, and while we're waiting on the next crop to grow, we could be in here cutting down some more trees and making money like that. I'm trying to figure out, or trying to choose the best method to not waste time and to try to make as much money as I can, as quickly as I can, because let's face it, this whole bumpkin farming thing It's cute, but it's not going to work over the long term. I'd like to have a house, you know. If it were real life, I know I would like to have a house. If I had $500,000 in real life, I would have bought a house instead of buying all this farming stuff. But, you know, it's just a game. So with that being said, I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and speed the time up. We'll let today pass. We'll take a snooze at our house here, which, you know, when you try to move these things, it says object too heavy. Now think about it. This dude can pick up tree trunks, but he can't pick up a lounge chair to adjust it and maybe put it in a better position than what it's in right now. But oh well. Again, it's just a game. So yeah, we're gonna wait for it to get dark. We're also gonna remember to change the plant growth to normal. That way it'll grow faster. And I guess what I can do while I'm waiting on this is go ahead and cut down some more trees. We'll do that. Well, I'll leave that there for now. These woods are kind of creepy at night. Ah, home sweet home. Good morning, everyone. Alright, let's see what happened in the field overnight. Okay, it is ready to harvest. So I'm going to go ahead and start harvesting it. Guess I could have just as easily done this. Now we'll go ahead and harvest this field up. And it begins our first harvest. It looks like we also got some weeds in the field overnight. Yeah, that's another thing I'm going to have to invest in is some kind of herbicide, or I can get the weeder, which can only be used in the crop's first growing phase, I believe. So you're actually better off getting the herbicide instead. But I don't know that the fertilizer I bought will actually take herbicide, so we might be stuck with the weeder. And the good thing is we've only got one crop to look after at the moment, so I think it'll be alright for the most part. As long as we don't get too carried away cutting down trees, we shouldn't miss the first growing phase. One thing I need to do though is go ahead and slow the time back down. Yeah, it's already almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon and I haven't even done the first full lap around the field. So when you purchase a field in this game, the first thing, probably not the first thing you're going to notice, but you are going to notice that it will immediately require lime and it will need to be plowed in most cases. Even if you have those settings turned off to where you don't have to plow periodically and you don't have to worry about liming the field, you're still going to have to do it at least once every time you buy a new field. And I'm not sure why that is, but apparently that's the way the game's set up. Maybe the people you're buying the field from just never took care of the field. So you're having to do it. And it really does affect the yield. I think it says somewhere on the option screen, or it says somewhere in here. I think there's a tutorial somewhere that talks about exactly how much it will affect your yield if you don't keep the field limed and plow it periodically. It will actually affect the amount of fruit that you get out of that particular field. So even though you can turn those things off to where you're not required to do it on a regular basis, you're still going to have to do it initially when you first purchase the field. That's all I'm saying. And we are full, so we will fill up our tipper. And I've also been contemplating something else. Initially, when I purchased these tractors, I had only intended on purchasing one of these Fiat tractors, this 1300 DT. But somehow I ended up buying two. I made a mistake. So I've also been looking at this tractor over here. Now the good thing about the Fiat, don't get me wrong, it's for the price, you can't beat the amount of horsepower you got there. 150 horsepower, 110 kilowatts of power. For that price, that's a very good deal, because these other tractors that are more expensive have far less horsepower than the 1300 DT. But I also just recently got this tractor here. It's a mod, and it's far less expensive than the tractors that originally came with the game. See, even that one, it costs $85,000, or this one that's $121,000. That might be the most expensive one here. Yeah, it's the most expensive of all the small tractors. It's 121 grand. And it's got 145 horsepower. That's 5 horsepower less than the cheapest tractor in the game. I know that this one doesn't go as fast, the speed. If you look at it, it only goes 15 miles per hour. That's the top speed. This one has a top speed of 31. So that one's twice as fast. But this one is more powerful. And it's, less than half the price. But yeah, what I'm saying is I think I might sell one of the Fiats and I might grab this one here since it's a lot cheaper. That way I can get a little bit of my money back and pay off that $25,000 loan. I'm thinking that's probably a good idea. Alright, this thing holds 4,000 liters and the combine holds 4,500. That's not too bad. So what I might do is hire a worker, jump into the tractor, and we are selling barley. So we've got to figure out the best place to take this barley to, and we don't have a whole lot of options on this map, but as far as I know, they're pretty good options. So it looks like we can take the barley to the grain mill for right now. Where's the grain mill? It's just over here. So we'll take it over here to the grain mill, we'll sell it. And we're not going to make a lot of money off this barley, but it's a start. Take a look at this town. It's a part of the map we didn't see last time. Very nice. Here's the grain mill. Oh, look at that bridge. Nice little detail there. Yep, here's the grain mill. Here's the sell point. Let's see how much we make off this. It's not going to be much at all. $3,104. Woo! Alright, back in the field once again. He's not full yet, so I think what we'll do is we'll pick up where he left off. And continue. You know what's really odd is that these weeds popped up very late in the growth cycle of the crop. I think the reason why it did that has something to do with me turning the weeds on. I don't know if they were initially off or something and the crop had already... I'm not really sure why it did that, but it did it. And so, you know, that could have been something else that I could have caught, but unfortunately I didn't. One other thing I have to consider is leasing a forage wagon, because I do intend on selling the straw that I'm getting from this crop. However, I don't know how much it's going to cost to lease a forage wagon, so we'll have to see. And we're already full again. Last pass. And we are done. Last load, going to the... Well, actually, selling station 2 looks better than the grain mill. At this point, only by $1 though, so... Where is the selling station 2? Oh, it's not that much further than the grain mill. In fact, it might actually be a little bit closer, so I guess we can try to take it here. I'm looking forward to using that cedar right there. I don't know that I've ever used that one before. Apparently this is a one-way sell point. And a little bit tricky to get into. Alright, now that the field is all nicely harvested, we will take a trip to the store in the tractor that we don't need. And we need to make some lease purchases. There are a couple things that I need, and I don't think I have the cash. I don't think I have the cash on hand or the income to acquire these things, especially, you know, owing a $25,000 loan at the moment. I just don't have the ability to purchase these things. However, I am going to need them, and it is an important part of the farm's income to have these items on hand. So the only other option is to lease these items. Of course, I am talking about a forage wagon and a spreader, something that will spread lime across the field there. I suppose I can use the forage wagon and then go turn it in, and then lease the lime spreader. Instead of doing both of them at the same time, I can actually save money if I just do it one at a time. But first, I'm going to sell this tractor. 1/10 of an hour operating, and they knocked $7,000 off of what I paid for it. Oh well. Okay, so let's check out how much damage we're gonna do to our wallet now. And I do need to still pay off that loan eventually. Don't have to do it right now, but eventually I'm gonna have to. See, we're gonna need that loading wagon. The cheapest one is $23.46. That's the initial lease cost, and then it's another, it's like $9.66 per hour. We need to go ahead and buy the tractor, the one that I was talking about. This one here. We need to go ahead and buy it. It doesn't have to be green though. We can change the color of it. I guess I'll just do all black. Looks like you can actually bring the horsepower up to 130 too. I didn't realize that. Maybe I should have looked at this one before I bought that other one from the get-go. It's only 20 horsepower less than the Fiat, However, it's a good $30,000 cheaper. Oh, that's going to come in handy. It actually comes with a front loader attacher. If you purchase, I mean, you can have that option if you want it. It looks like you can get a 3-point linkage in the front, but if you do, you can't have the front loader attacher. I'm going to get the front loader because that's going to be useful in the future, probably the distant future, but eventually I'm going to need a front loader attacher on one of the tractors, so I'll go ahead and get that now. I got the high horsepower engine. Oh wow, actually it goes all the way up to 143 horsepower. So yeah, I think I'm going to get this. And well, now we have to lease. So we'll go ahead and we'll lease a loading wagon. I'm going to go with the smallest one simply for the fact that it's a lot cheaper than the other ones, even to lease. So now that we have that, we'll go ahead and we'll start picking up this straw. Well, we got our first full load of straw here, so I'm pretty sure the only place we can sell straw would be the barn. It's at the top there. So we'll go over to straw, and if you look down here in the bottom right hand corner of the screen, you can see the icon for the straw there. You might also be able to see where it actually says straw. It's pretty small though. So straw is actually the little triangle shape, white triangle shape pile there that has like the little zigzag symbols, and everything is going down. So yeah, the barn is in fact the only place we can sell the straw at, and they're only offering $150 per 1,000 liters, which in here we have 23,000 liters. Alright, let's go sell some straw. We will know, in fact, if it's worth it to make this little investment by leasing a loading wagon. We'll know in the end if it's actually going to be worth it or not. It seems like it might get me a few $100s, and if that's the case, it's really not worth it to go to all this trouble to lease a loading wagon, to pay the initial lease cost and then pay per hour to operate. We might actually be better off just skipping this part for now until I can actually buy a loading wagon. Looks like the barn is actually inside of the animal dealer. 3,164. So yeah, I mean, we are getting a little bit more than what I actually paid to lease. I'm glad I got the smallest one now. I'm glad I got the cheapest one, because there's not a whole lot of straw in this field. In fact, I don't even think I have another load full of it. We'll find out soon, though. Alright, and it looks like the second half of that field allotted us with another 22,259 liters, 1,000 liters of straw. So it's not quite full, it's at 96%. But we are, even with the time charge for operating this loading wagon, it looks like we are in the green. So we have made a little bit of income on this. However, it's a judgment call of whether or not it's actually worth it. I think in the end, it probably is. It's just another way to make some income. See, I'm gonna have to look at the actual cost of what we just paid to lease this trailer here, this loading wagon. But I think we have, at least, if nothing else, made about $2,500 worth of income here after paying all of the additional costs for the lease of the loading wagon itself. So at least we didn't lose any money. But the question is, did we lose time? Did we waste time doing this? I don't think we did. In fact, whenever I start growing the next crop, I'm going to make sure that the field is healthy, the soil in the field is healthy, by plowing it and by liming it, and also by fertilizing 2 times. So in the end, the outcome for harvest number 2, our first initial harvest that we are actually planting, we're going to end up with more straw than what we just got on this go around, because the soil will be healthier after I condition it, do everything that I need to do that the previous owner of the field neglected to do. We're actually going to come out with a much better yield. Therefore, we'll have a lot more straw. And the last thing that I have to do is determine exactly what I'm going to plant. I could plant wheat. I could plant more barley. I don't like the price on barley right now at the moment, but those are options. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this loading wagon in since we're done with it. We've spent 0.5 hours or half an hour operating it, so we should be charged for half an hour operating fee. So we're not even going to have to pay the whole whatever it was to operate the loading wagon, since we've only used it for half an hour. So that's good too. And I'm going to look and see if the game will actually tell us how much we just spent on this, as opposed to what we just made by selling all that straw. I'm going to come around here, turn this thing in. Alright. We're sitting at just under $51,000 at this point. So we've made some income. I know a lot of it came from that tractor, but we're doing pretty good. Can't complain. And it looks like we've spent $2,346, but that's not telling us what we spent on the time itself. Yeah, so we can't actually see how much we just spent for the time, but I'm going to say it was half an hour's worth that we spent on time. And if I come back over here and I look and see, no, I don't want to do that. It says per operating hour, $966. So we're looking at $483 plus the $23.46. So what is that? 2,800, and we spent about 2,800 roughly on leasing that trailer, but we made of course we're not going to be able to distinguish the difference between what we made on the straw versus what we just made on selling all that barley, but I'm going to say we made at least $6,500 on that straw. So it's definitely worth it to lease, even if it's only for a little while. I suppose. All right, never mind. Okay. Yeah, even if it's only for a little while, we did make some profit. We made just a shade over $3,000 on all that straw, so it was worth it. And it is the end of the day, so I'm gonna call it here. The field is all ready to go. Everything's looking good. As soon as the sun comes up tomorrow, we'll get started back on the field. We'll get it all ready. I have to lease a spreader to spread the lime. I don't think the fertilizer spreader that I currently own has the option to put lime in it. No, it does not. So I'm gonna have to lease a spreader that'll actually take lime. I'm gonna have to lime the field, then I'm gonna have to plow it. After I do that, I'll go ahead and throw down the first layer of fertilizer on the field, and I will sow the field, and then it's just a matter of letting things grow. Definitely turn that lime spreader in as soon as I'm done with it, since I'm having to lease it as well. Then we'll move on. We'll wait for the weeds to pop up. We'll look into getting a weeder so that we can get the weeds as soon as they pop up and try to stay on top of it. But in between all that time and waiting for the crop to actually be ready to harvest, we're going to be working in the forest over here, cutting down trees, trying to make as much income off of that as we possibly can. So anyway, thanks you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am, or at least enjoying it somewhat, and stay tuned. I'll see you guys later. Alright, Jared here, signing out with Why Do the Nations Rage, so on and so forth. Until next time. Why do